How's it going, everyone? This is Dan for BladeReviews.com. Welcome to my review of the Viper Carnera. Viper is an Italian knife company. They're actually a subdivision of Technocut, and they're based out of Maniago, Italy. They have recently begun to make a foothold here in the United States, and it was a great pleasure and privilege to sit down and meet with them at Blade Show 2013. I got to handle pretty much their entire line of knives, talk with them at length, and ultimately walk away with what you see here, which is their Carnera model. Just a beautiful big chopper, something that I would call a cross between a camp knife and a machete, and very impressive. Very, very impressive knife. I've got some quick specifications for you, then I'm going to get right into it here. The Carnera has an overall length of 15¼ inches. It's got a 9½ inch long blade, and the weight on this knife is 17.4 ounces, but really you wouldn't know it by handling the knife. It is incredibly well balanced. It feels much lighter in hand, and really is nice to handle and use. Let's talk a little bit about the blade here. Start things off as I typically do. You've got an oversized clip point blade shape, really cool. A lot of style and confidence in this kind of blade shape. I really do like that quite a bit. This knife comes in two general flavors. You've got the kind of old world model that you see here. It comes with the wood handle scales, stonewash blade, and a leather sheath that I'll show you in a minute. And then they also have a more tactical kind of variant with a black PVD coated finish and micarta handle scales and a ballistic nylon moly compatible sheath. I really like the old school style of the wood handle here, and I thought it was very handsome with this slightly stonewashed blade. So that's the model I selected, and it comes with a nice big piece of D2 steel here, and you've got that large clip point blade shape. Fully flat ground, which greatly reduces some of the weight and helps them balance it out. It's still a forward heavy knife, and it definitely is a chopper, but it doesn't feel like you're wielding a brick. It actually feels quite manageable when you go to handle and use it. And a nice detail about the blade and actually the entire handle here is this capped or rounded spine. Really elegant, upscale finish, something you see on Chris Reeve knives and some of these higher end Italian models as well. So that's a really nice thing to see. Just a beautiful knife. Now mine is a little beat up after using it, and it is D2 steel, as I said before, which is a semi-stainless steel. I've had no issues with rust, but it does kind of develop a little bit of a patina and can be difficult, for me at least, to keep completely clean, especially after chopping down an entire tree, which is essentially what I did with this knife. I had a dead ficus tree in my backyard, so I wanted to take it out, and I selected the Carnera to do at least part of the job. And it was a great opportunity to test the chopping capabilities, which this absolutely excels at. It's a great chopper, very keen edge. I think D2 was a great choice because it's able to take a nice edge, it's able to stay very, very sharp, but it also is quite tough, so no issues with chipping or otherwise seeing a bunch of edge deformation, and it held that edge all the way through after an entire day of cutting. And all I've really had to do with this knife is strop it, so that's nice to see. And I've sometimes seen D2 as a bit of a hit or miss steel, depending on the heat treat. I really think that they nailed it though in this case. I also did some limbing with this knife, so once I fell down these larger branches, I just kind of snapped off the little branches, and the Carnera is great for that. I mean, it's a great knife for processing big pieces of wood like that. I didn't do any batoning because it is a fully flat ground knife. Didn't see the need to do it in my backyard. And really, I don't think that it's a knife that it was designed to do a lot of batoning. It's more of a cross between a camp knife and a machete, in my opinion. So if batoning is something that's really important to you, I imagine it could do a little bit of batoning, but certainly it's not going to baton like an SC Hungless or anything like that. So, you know, for what it's worth. But if you're looking for something to process wood, something to chop, something to really do a fair amount of limbing with, then this is a great choice, I think, because it really worked well in my hands. let's talk a bit about the handle here. And like I said before, I selected the old school kind of version of the knife, the one with the traditional wood handles. This is Palo Santo wood, a type of wood that I am previously unfamiliar with, but having had the opportunity to handle this knife, I'll tell you, it's got a beautiful grain to it. Really nice wood, wonderfully finished, and looks really nice, especially with that capped or rounded spine there. And everything is held together with simple Torx bolts here. Nice to see. I guess you could make your own scales or take these off if you wanted or needed to. I really like the wood scales though. Very comfortable. And let me try and get these fingerprints off. Well, they're going to stay on there. But it's a nice choice of material. My Carnera might be a little more practical. But really, due to the design of this handle, I had no need to worry about slipping off the knife. I didn't have to use a lanyard hole. I didn't wish, hey, there was more texture or traction or jimping or any kind of crap like that on the handle here. It definitely has plenty of grip just by virtue of the generous palm swell and then this kind of flared pommel here. So made for a really comfortable knife, nice secure grip, and beautiful as well. So really nice handle design. Let's talk a little bit about the sheath real quick. As I mentioned earlier, this style of the knife, this flavor, if you will, came with a leather sheath, and it's a simple leather sheath. Nice thick pieces of leather here, stitched, a couple snaps on it. Simply made, but it definitely gets the job done, and it holds the knife securely in place. So kind of a no-frill sheath, but it is simple, and it matches the nice wood hardware here, the wood handle. You do have an easy belt loop snap, which is always good to see. So you can do that. You can adjust the belt loop depending on how high you want to carry the knife on you. And there also is a lanyard attachment point here if you want to maybe lash this to your bag or perhaps do some sort of thigh rig. You can accomplish that with this sheath. The nylon sheath that the other version of the knife comes with might be a little more practical. Maybe if you're a member of the military or you have a lot of Molly gear or something like that, it could be perhaps a better choice for you. I do like the leather sheath, although I think it would be cool if it came in a brown color, like a nice tobacco brown, rather than black. I just think it would look pretty handsome next to the brown wood handle scales. But that's just me. Anyhow, let's kind of bring this one to a conclusion here. All things considered, I really like the Carnera a lot. It's a very smart design. It's obvious to me that they spent a lot of time thinking about this knife, how it was going to work, how it was going to perform, and then they just flawlessly executed it. It's beautiful, beautifully made, really nicely finished, high-end details, high-end materials. Wonderful, wonderful knife. Really performed well. I definitely enjoyed using it and carrying it, and I totally recommend it. And I may even actually spend some extra money and get a Kydex sheath made for it. I like the knife that much. I think it might merit its own Kydex sheath. The only downside that I see in it is that there really are kind of difficult to find right now. I was searching around on the internet. I didn't see any of the major online retailers carrying this knife just yet. I know that Viper's working on it. Would love to see it on Blade HQ or something like that. But for now, you're just going to have to hunt and see if you can secure it maybe through eBay or through some of the smaller boutique e-commerce sites. So anyhow, guys, that's the review. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, this is Dan for BladeReviews.com. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions. Thanks again, and take care.